The Gauteng leg of the South African Human Rights Commission's hearings into the July unrest of last year started yesterday. It's a two-week probe that will focus on events as they unfolded in Gauteng during that unrest in July, and also feature the continuation of evidence from the KZN sitting that took place last year. Well, let's get the latest from SAHRC Commissioner Advocate Tseliso Thipanyane to discuss how the Commission's Gauteng leg has been going. Commissioner, good morning to you. I appreciate your time. Give us a sense then of what has come out so far.
Good morning to you and to your viewers, CEO of the Human Rights Commission. The day went well yesterday. We had the Minister of Police, Mr. Tseliso, the whole day, giving us his own reflections on the role of the police in the unrest. And then today we'll be having the former acting Major General of Gauteng Police, and then we'll be having the former Minister of State Security, Ms. Ayanda Hlolo. And then during the week we'll have people from the communities of Alexander and Soweto, as well as the Minister of Trade and Industry later on.
And what are you hoping to find out of this, Commissioner? What is the end goal for the SAHRC? I understand recommendations will be made, but give me a sense of the kind of questions that you're asking those who many will say were ultimately responsible for the failure and the resulting unrest.
Well, the ultimate goal really is that, this tragedy should never happen again. It's a massive violation of human rights. We have lost billions to our economy because of this tragedy. But secondly, there was clearly an inadequate role played by the law enforcement agencies who have a constitutional mandate to ensure that this does not happen again. So we need to get a better sense as to exactly what went wrong with policing and law enforcement. But thirdly, our people did take to the streets to loot, and that also has to be addressed, including the underlying factors. And then fourthly, we saw issues of racial violence and racial killings around Phoenix and some parts of Pietermaritzburg, which also then undermines social cohesion, undermines the values which we are trying to fight for as South Africans. So we will make findings and recommendations on how this could be attended to going forward. And as far as we are concerned, our findings are binding until reviewed by court of law.
And once we get to that court of law as well, I'm sure many of the questions will be asked from a legal perspective as well. Commissioner, I also realize I'm speaking to you as an advocate as well. You must have been curious and well surprised when you heard the police minister saying that he wasn't even involved in the intelligence briefings. It was months later that he was to find out what happened in these briefings. That must have come as a surprise to you.
It is worrying and a serious concern that, we have crime intelligence in our country, we have the security, and the mandate is to protect our country from internal and external threats. And therefore, if intelligence is not provided to relevant people, it's really worrying. And we think that's one of the major problems really about, the high levels of crime in our country, but also, the issues which fuel this unrest. And we also would like to find out from the state, as to exactly what will be done with those who are behind this violence. They need to be brought to the book as quickly as possible.
And also one of the many rights enshrined in our laws and our constitution in the country, Commissioner, is the right to protection, the right to security, and ultimately it is the police that we rely on for that. Are you getting a sense so far that the perceived disconnect between the police minister and the police commissioner could have led at least partly to what we saw last year in July?
It certainly contributed. The President's committee as well highlights issues and the need that, this has to be looked into. And we've seen again with Marikana as well. So certainly you are correct. There is a constitutional obligation by government to protect South Africans from crime and all other interferences. And the police have this primary responsibility. So to a large extent, the unrest in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal constitutes a failure of policing to a large extent.
Yeah, to a large extent, I think is very much the opinion as we wait for the Commission to continue its work. I know there's still a lot of people to speak to, but for the moment, Commissioner Tseliso Thipanyane from SAHRC, the advocate, just giving us a sense of what the Police Minister Tumza had to say, but there's still a lot more people to talk to try and get to the bottom of where this failure came in and resulting in that criminality that we saw. Appreciate the advocate's time.
The point is to never have a repeat of this
never have
again
a repeat, absolutely.
in South Africa.